welcome to Outback Mini Models. It's Clem again. Today I've got a kind of a product review and a comparison. And this is if this applies to your diorama guys, but if you guys are into like your miniatures, your Warhammer stuff, it's I sort of bought this stuff more for that because I sort of base more on my miniatures than I do build dioramas. So I picked this up about a week ago, and it's the Tamiya diorama texture paint. It's the Soil Effect Dark Earth, and it's pretty much the same stuff as the Citadel Texture Stirland Mud, or their textured paint series for your bases. And I've also got the Astro Granite, which is a grey. I thought I'd just get a neutral colour, so that's just there. But I'm really just going to compare the two, because I haven't actually compared the two yet and see what they're like. Start off with prices, and I think I paid about $6. Okay, and everything's in Australian too, so it's obviously going to be cheaper, or your numbers are going to be lower or higher depending where you're watching this from. So it's about $6, and you get about 14 mils in this. And I paid about 16, and you get 100 mils in this, and so it works out, you get about 8 times more in this than you do in that. So it works out, I sort of worked out before, you're paying to get as all this to equal that, you're paying about 50 bucks. So $16 is a big difference, since I do a lot of it. But not taking saying one product is better than the other. I just actually want to do a comparison. First of all, you just want to start off with your bases here. Just make sure there's no grease. I haven't primed them because these are just for demonstration purposes only. So what I'm going to do, so I don't forget, I'm just going to get a bit of Model Air and just on the bottom, just sort of dab it on the bottom here, and that's just going to mark it as my Citadel base here. So I flip it over, I know which is which. So I'll start off with here, and I'll sort of look at open this back up, and I'll sort of have a look at what's inside the bottle. I mean, smell wise, like the Citadel stuff doesn't really have a smell to it, but if you sort of have a whiff of, and I don't recommend going sniffing sniffing paint, but just having a smell of it, smells like normal household acrylic paint that you've used, you paint the walls of your house. Consistency, thickness, if I just get a cotton stick here, or cocktail stick, and just give it a little stir. Put a bit on my fingers here, and like it feels, you can feel the grain, like I don't actually know what they put in it, but it just feels like sand, gritty. That's that one. Just wipe down. Use the same stick. I stick it in the Tamiya stuff. Like straight away, you notice it's a lot thicker. There's a lot more granules in it, like sand. I'm just going to use the word sand because I don't really know what they put in it. Yeah, definitely. So straight away you can notice that the Tamiya, the textured stuff is really fine. Like there's just there's more granules per drop, if you could, because it's not really square inch or square feet or square meters. I'm just going to use squared, like per drop. It's very, very fine. It's a lot finer, so, but it does say to thin it out with water, or their thinners, their acrylic thinners. and if you thin it out too much, basically it says on the back it what's it say? Remove all debris surfaces, roughen up smooth surface before applying, provide better paint adhesion. Thin water and paint is too thick. Use smaller acrylic paint for mixing colour. So if you want to darken it up, you can just they're saying that you can add the acrylic paint. So if you want really dark texture, but I generally just whack it on, seal it with a bit of a matte coat, and then paint it that way. And obviously do not use below temperatures of 5 degrees. So we're going to start off with this Tamiya stuff, not Tamiya stuff, the Citadel stuff. Actually, to be honest, what I might do is I might just put them side by side so I can compare both at once. So just using an old cruddy brush. You don't really want to paint it on as you would using just normal paint. You kind of just want to stab it on. So you give like a texture, like raised surfaces, but I thought this would be great for my tanks as well. Like just saves me mixing up pigments and that in some areas. I'm not saying this is a substitute for using pigments, but just to build up the mud effects on the tanks, it's going to be, hopefully it's going to work. I've never actually tried this stuff, like as both of these products are fairly new in my area, and obviously the texture paint hasn't really been out that long by Citadel, so I just thought I'd give them a try. So that's that one. I'll just wipe it off because I don't want all this, before I stick it back in the water jar, I don't want all this stuff in my bottom of my water pot. And just to make life easier again, I'm just going to get some silver paint and bang on the sides so they like that. And then just going to get my mixing palette out just in case I do need to thin down the Tamiya stuff. It's definitely not as easy to put on, so I might actually just try and thin this out a bit, guys. So, if I've got it on hand, I hope I do. Come on, don't. I'll just find my X28 thinner. Alright, so I've got a bit here. In a dropper bottle. I'm just going to put a couple of drops there on the palette. Get a bit more. I only want to thin this out slightly. I don't want to put too much on here. I don't want to turn this to paint. More the consistency you're looking for. Yeah, this is definitely not as easy to put on as as the Citadel stuff. It takes a bit more work to sort of build up the layers and for it to stick, but maybe he's only got a primer on here, so. And if you guys have used this before, this is my first time really using it, so maybe if we use a bit of primer underneath it, it'd probably have something to bite to and stick better to. Yeah, so that took a little bit longer to apply. And first impressions, what do I think? I think they're both actually both really good products. Yeah, I'm not taking anything away from either one. I think they both have their uses. Obviously, this stuff here wasn't designed by Games Workshop. So that it's designed for building dioramas and sort of fairly large areas, vignettes and things like that. And I think that, like I said before, they've both got their uses. If you want a sort of very fine mud effect, or basically a mud build up on your armor, you'd probably go for the Tamiya stuff. But if you want more of a chunky built up effect, you'd probably go for the Citadel stuff. The Citadel stuff you can thin out with water as well, so I mean, if you don't have access to this the Tamiya soil effect, and you've only got like a Games Workshop store, or if you go and just pick this up, the Citadel stuff, there's nothing wrong with it either. So we'll let this dry and we'll have a look at it. Should be dry now. It's been about 20 minutes, and outside it's a pretty warm day today too, so obviously acrylic paint really doesn't take that much time to dry in this weather over here. What do we got? So what do we got? Oh yeah, that's just YouTube videos sort of editing in the background, so if you ever hear that, that's what I'm doing. Just swing back and forward. But first thing you notice is the Citadel, which is this side here, the dark brown. It's got a semi-gloss finish to it, so if that's too glossy for you, I mean, you're gonna matte cut anyway. Like you'd be crazy just to leave it on there and just leave it as the way it is, because the paint will start sort of disintegrating as you use it. And the Tamiya stuff here, which is the light, this one here, under my tip of my brush, the light brown, it's a really matte finish on it. But if you should be able to see, because you obviously you're looking on a bigger screen. And first thing you notice is the granule size, the grain difference between the Tamiya stuff here and the Citadel stuff. So if I just sort of have both these balls in the background, sort of comparison which side it's on. You do notice a big difference between the granule size. So realistically, they're both two completely different products, and I can't really say one's better than the other besides money, like the price wise. Like I said, you're paying, the Tamiya stuff was about $16 for 100 mils or 100 grams, and the more 100 mils of size volume, so not weight wise, and the Citadel stuff was about $6, and that's for 14. So it all depends on your budget, what you can afford, how much you actually use the stuff. What else can I say about it? like either one, guys. Like if you've got the money to sort of splash out and buy the Tamiya stuff, go for it. It's a bit like I said earlier on in the last segment, that it's a lot harder to use. When I say harder to use, it doesn't go on nowhere near as easy as the Citadel stuff, but I can't see why, if you can add something to it, like a thickening agent to it. I don't really think I have anything here that maybe a matte medium or something, but that might break down the granules too much. That's more like a paint, so you've really just got to experiment with it. And that's pretty much end of this review trial. Hope this really helps, and like it's my first time using it, so hope it helps and you guys have some luck with it and it enhances your models just that little bit more. Thanks for watching, guys. See you in the next one. See ya.